Wacky, wacky Wednesday, Matt. Happy Wednesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Matt. You know, Davio, an Irish name, but I know you. I know you have some. I'm Davio, an Italian name.
Yeah.
But I know you have some Irish lineage. No.
Oh yeah. Irish Italian mutt.
You
Yep.
know the Irish
Absolutely.
and the Italians. They like to get together, especially in the cities of the New World.
Yeah. Erin Go Bragh,
Erin Go Bragh. Erin,
which means basically Ireland forever, right?
love the Irish. I'm Irish through and through, Matt. I want to pay respects as we start here
My green
to
cup. I'm
to a
drinking green beer.
fantastic
We're
Irish.
drinking green beer on FOMC day.
Right on. Rest in peace, Jack Sander, and condolences to his family. Matt, I know you don't know this gentleman, but what a great Chicago Mercantile Exchange, longtime member, chairman of the board, just the quintessential Chicago commodity guy, right? Yeah. Just a fantastic guy. A Saluki, went to Southern Illinois University, got his law degree at Notre Dame. A floor trader, his own clearing firm, and the Chicago guy, like the Chicago guy, willing to debate, right? But he fought in 60 amateur boxing matches and won the Golden Gloves, and he's a Southside Irish guy. So willing to debate and have a conversation, but if you get rude and cross him, not unwilling to punch you out. But just a fabulous guy. Like, treat each other with respect, and we got no problems here. And you can argue and disagree with me, and that's fine. But you know what? He drew the line, and he meant it when he drew the line. And talk about a great guy, man. Adopted 8 kids, incredibly successful, and a fierce advocate for traders at the exchange. We will miss Jack Sander for sure, and my condolences go out to the family.
Hey, let's send out a little Irish blessing. May your troubles be less, your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door.
Amen. Amen. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Matt, I want to also just jump in. You know, I'm gonna like the last time. I'm gonna save the poem for the end. Something I saw, Matt, and I don't know it to be true. He did not share his trading statements, but Bill Gross says he made $10 million shorting GameStop. A major FU to the Reddit bros. The guy didn't need the 10 million for sure. But I, as we talked about this yesterday, I'm sticking by my contention that this is no more at this point than high limit poker, no limit poker, as a matter of fact. And you better be well capitalized to trade GameStop. I don't really care what it's doing today, but this just goes to show me that, you know, it wasn't, you know, the Reddit bros. The moves were overnight. There were professionals squeezing other professionals in a no-limit game of poker, and that's the story that nobody's telling.
And I also have a hard time believing that Melvin Capital, with where that stock was, if there any type of action, you know, momentum trader, there was no momentum. There was, when this all started, let's say, you know, when people started picking up on it late fall of 2020, you know, what was GameStop? $4 or $5, whatever it was. There's no way anybody who's, you know, unless they're an activist short fund, which I don't believe they are, they're momentum trading. There's no way that they would have been short from $4 to 500 anyways, right? They had some type, you know, if they were on a position, they had to stop, and they might have stopped out at 10 or 15 and got schmeezed that way, but there's no way they rode it all the way up. So, yeah, again, it takes deep pockets to trade $500 stocks, you know, for Bill Gross. Honestly, I mean, if he sold 3,000 shares at $300 and bought them back at, you know, just this, you know, past couple days, 174, he made $150. I mean, that, you know, 3,000 shares gets you to $500,000. So he only needed 6,000 shares. It doesn't take much in total size to put on that position.
Anyway, enough of GameStop. Let's talk real macro events going on. And I saw this and I thought it was interesting because we all know how many of these companies are getting into this malted beverage and or you know, cocktail in a can.
Right.
And the big player for sure is White Claw, right? These guys have killed it. Out of Canada, privately held. But this, along with marijuana, as we've talked about before, seems to be a race to the bottom to me. And I don't know. They're still killing it, though. So
Yeah, I mean,
Budweiser, I know, owns 10 Barrel. So that's the stock that you would look at for them to take market share.
yeah,
And
but I mean,
also the profit margin.
Yeah, Budweiser has, you've seen them advertise. They've got their whole seltzer line. Everybody's, expanding from the seltzers to, they have rum drinks, they have whiskey drinks, they have vodka drinks. They got them all. It sounds like, what is that song where he goes, he mentions all of the drinks, but it kind of sounds like that. So I think that, there's a number of things going on that make a lot of sense to me. And, I do agree with you. I think it's a race to the bottom. I mean, two things I'll mention that we saw this weekend. I mean, we saw, or recently, we've seen a consolidation going on here locally in Bend, where Deschutes bought, excuse me, I'm having a difficult time coordinating thoughts this morning. Jeez. They bought RPM, Boneyard. So
Did they really? I did not see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? So that happened last week. Deschutes bought Boneyard while I was in Arizona. And so even, Deschutes is the number 7 brewer privately held here in Bend. They're the number 7 brewer in America, North America today. That's because the consolidation continues. And there was so much growth, especially in the 12 through 16 years, where all the microbrews were growing everywhere in the country. And there was a reason why Deschutes stopped their production of a new manufacturing facility, a brewing facility in Richmond or wherever it was on the East Coast. They stopped completely. They just paused it, and it's because there's so much competition, and even they still have pretty good distribution on the east side of the country anyway, so they didn't really do that. Budweiser, to your point, they can command shelf space anytime into these things. So that's something that they're always doing. If you'd like, I can bring up a chart and show you that.
Yeah. I thought it was, we all knew that it was a necessity for these brewers to go and acquire other brewers. But the 10 Barrel name in particular, I think it's going to be a great for them.
Yeah.
And they have the capacity to grow and take over some of this the space.
Again, Budweiser just gave you a nice little entry here at 57. It literally tagged, and this is a daily chart, so this is a long-term chart. It's been kind of vacillating. It made a bottom, as did everything. Again, all assets are one, but it hasn't recovered to the heyday of where it was. Kind of your race to the bottom, right? These markets are so crowded and so competitive that these aren't the best businesses necessarily margin-wise to be in right now, unless you get further consolidation and further breakdown of the smaller players that have to exit the market. Another thing that happened yesterday, again, I'm going to bring in another Ben story, because this is a big story, and we're talking about kind of the opposite. The marijuana space is growing so rapidly as players come into the space. And there's a local company, a software company based here in Bend called Dutchie, that basically facilitates all online ordering and delivery. So they kind of facilitate all those things that happen. If you go to a dispensary's website and you want to place an order, they're not actually shipping the product. There are companies that do that, but they facilitate that handshake between the customer, the dispensary, and then next to the delivery partner, right? So they're doing all those things. They're combining all that. And they just raised another 200 million, and they just raised 6 months ago 300 million from Snoop Dogg's venture, Kevin Durant. I know Howard Schultz, the CEO of the ex-CEO of Starbucks, is an investor in Dutchie also. So this investment yesterday also came along with a transit, and it was with Tiger Global. So the big Tiger Fund put money, Julian Robertson, basically they're putting 200 million. They brought that whole deal yesterday, and with that they also consolidated a couple other software companies that are not really competitors, but really brings together a suite of software SaaS type products for the dispensaries that these guys then offer, kind of the full Monty picks and shovels behind the scenes manage your inventories, delivery, everything. So that's a big deal. So that valued the company immediately at 1.7 billion, Bob.
Holy shit. That's a
Yeah.
giant number.
So you want to look at that. Just changed, what's happening in Bend. You've got obviously software engineers that are here, and then they've got an office over on the west side. I've been over to it, and they've probably got, I don't know, 50 to 100 people. I'm sure they're already busting. I know they were going to move into one of those new buildings on Mount Washington. So it's happening. But the point is, the consolidation is just beginning, and the growth is just beginning in the marijuana space. Whereas, to your point, everybody knows what seltzer is. It's been out there for 5 years. Now, the margins are going to be pinched as everybody else tries to rush into that.
Fucking $20 for a 12 pack. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing more insulting than that. All right, let me before we go to the marijuana, we'll cover a couple of those stocks. Let me just talk about this story here. So stop sharing.
Okay.
You always want to share unless you want to let me share, and then there's no sharing allowed. Anyway, this was the headline, and I just bring it up because, along with possibly propping up cryptocurrencies and stocks with the stimulus, this is another, let's call it a collateral damage. And the whole article is about New York just lost a major excuse for legalizing weed because the 1.9 trillion. A ton of it goes to the state of New York, and it really eases their budget concerns, constraints, and problems. One of the main drivers on why they were looking to legalize weed to capture that revenue. So a little bit of collateral damage. And I saw a tweet today from Jim Urio about how I'd like to see the lockdowns and how underfunded their state budgets are and their state what do you call what I don't have it? Or retirement. Their state's retirement funds. Let's see that correlation. How much the lockdown screwed their economies. Therefore, how much the federal government has going to come in and help bail them out. Back to this story.
Well, I mean, I've said this from day one. Most of this lockdown was more about the bankrupt pensions that are going around this country. Most of the states, from ours, Oregon, especially on the West Coast, are the hugely most underfunded pensions in the country. Like, there's no way the numbers can ever, play out. And I think, some of these, and I don't know what's buried in completely, but there may be some money for some of these companies, for some of these pensions in that 1.9 trillion, because very little of that, Bob, let's say maybe 300-400 billion is actually ending up in the hands via the stimulus checks, right?
Right on.
And then how about the stimulus checks causing the strife? I mean, did you see the headline yesterday where the guy basically killed his ex baby mama and 4 other people because she wouldn't give him the stimmy check?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Man, let's talk. We got it's a double dash day on Wednesday here. Double dashes. We're going to do DoorDash, and then when we talk crypto, we're going to talk Dash, the currency, the cryptocurrency. Right. And again, more news today around some interesting things in crypto. But before we get there, let's pull up the DoorDash chart, because I know you shared inside marketvitals.io your opinion on this chart. For sure, DoorDash will be delivering the weed and seltzer combo soon.
I don't know. There's a couple other players that are already in that space. I don't know if they have if they've been thinking about the licensing. Quite honestly, I don't know where they are.
They'll change it to Door Smashed.
I am looking for my share button, Bob, and I'm not finding it. So
technology.
Good Lord.
Share screen. It's not right on the bottom.
It's not.
All right, Matt.
Hold on.
Hold on.
I got it. Hold on. Bear with me. It just came back. So DoorDash, we've been talking about it, in the marketvitals.io community for some time. And when it did the double top up or the right shoulder, we recommended that you probably take profits and look to go short. And sure enough, that went from 227 down to the 127 range. Now we're oversold, but a couple things I'll point out. It's still a $42 billion market cap at this price. So it's been cut in half. It was 80 billion, which was insane. Obviously, these guys aren't making money yet. They just came public in the end of middle of December, the end of 2020. You know, there's no doubt this is not going away. This is a good business. And to your point, they do deliver more than food. They deliver pet food. They deliver groceries. They deliver, you know, anything, anything that you're too lazy to get out of your house and go get, which would be a great, you know, again, the pot delivery markets are huge too, but I don't really know who's actually doing the delivery for the Leaflies and the different companies that offer delivery services. I don't know if they, you know, I don't know if anybody can just deliver pot.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because if the DoorDash guy's a stoner, like he's pinching your quarter, and you end up with an eighth, and you're like, hey, right, I got shortchanged.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, the guy's for sure eating your French fries, and if he's high, so he steals your weed, and then he goes and picks up food. That person's got no chance, right? After the DoorDash guy delivered the weed, smokes the blunt, goes, picks up your Happy Meal, and when you get it, you ain't happy. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's all valid points. But
anyway,
you know,
for me, Matt, that chart looks like, you know.
Well, here's what's interesting. It's only been trading for a quarter, 3 months, and now you're at all-time lows. You're at all-time lows. Anybody that's bought this stock is underwater. That's where
everybody's underwater, which is dangerous, because you almost need, for me, you need that flush. You need that panic sell. Yeah. I'm out of this fucking thing.
Right.
And or you needed to form a bottom here and recapture some price discovery above that point of control.
Yeah.
And maybe you jump in then, but you know,
it's not a pretty chart. I would not, you know, again, the lifeline isn't long enough for me. Again, I'm sure it was priced at $20, right? I'm sure if we go back and look at the S1, it probably came out, you know, 8x. So anybody
actually, that's another good reference point. Like, where was it priced?
Yeah. So, and again, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I bet you it was $20 to $30. So anybody that got the stock for free, you're still doing great. Anybody once it became public, and guess what, Bob, you saw this a lot in 2000. But these guys do have revenues. They're not, somehow they'll scale and somehow they'll make money, just like Amazon. But Amazon 21 years later or whatever, 50 years later, still not making money except on their cloud services. So you can deliver stuff all you want, but it's a tough model. It's really thin margins out there, isn't it? And then you wanted to talk a little bit about Dash, so I'll bring up Dash.
Yeah, you know what? Let me bring it in. Let me bring in the segment before we jump to it. That's what we do.
Yeah,
that's what we do. Hold on. The audio was just a second behind. So let's just talk about Dash, because this was a tweet that we talked about this back on February 15th. Dash price doubles in 1 week, but other privacy coins like XMR, ZEC are struggling versus Bitcoin. But let's look at Dash 1 month later, basically from this. Go ahead, Matt, take it away. Talk to me about Dash, the cryptocurrency.
It really hasn't been doing much. This is not DoorDash. This is Dash/USD. And this is the Kraken quote. You're looking at trading right now about 2.25, 225. Again, the high spike up there that you're referencing recently, and was what was it, $330, $100 higher. This chart's not bad as long as kind of that 190 level holds. So that would be your near term reference. If that goes, again, you're back to 104.
I mean, I think that is so imperative for people to understand, because there's continues to be chatter about, moonshots for these things. You need to understand that if it can't hold that low, the point of control is $100. You're going to get halved.
Yeah. And if we look at it, if we look like we always want to do, we want to fractal out. I mean, if they can't hold this 190 level, and again, this is a lot easier to see with less bars, and I just switched it to a daily look. And again, this is not is really 190 for me, not this bottom down here at 181, but if you break 195, so it gives you $5, 190. So, maybe you wait for 200 and you buy it. It may not get that low again. I'm not sure, but to me, yeah, I mean, the fundamentals, you know the story more than I do. Pet Rock 29.72 here. I don't know. But there's so many pet rocks. I mean, how do you pick them out of your
Well, here and again,
collector's like how do you put them away in your collector's box?
Right, exactly. It's like you're collecting Jordan shoes here. Like which was going to be the popular one? Which I have said this for a while. Why I have a problem with like Grayscale and or micro strategies. They're all piled into Bitcoin. You know, maybe Bitcoin's not the story. Maybe it's pets.com at the end of the day, and maybe Dash is it, because Dash is actually being used way more in specifically Venezuela, other countries, as a payment point of sale and as a currency, especially in failing currency markets. Like,
well, let me throw out this idea.
Jordan too.
Let me throw out this idea, thought process, thinking process for you. Really the one area where I think crypto could help us immediately would be in voting, right? Whether you're voting for a national election or a local election, this can be instituted tomorrow if somebody in the power decides to, but they don't want that. Guess why? Because they can't cheat then.
So, no, exactly. How about in districting?
But if you want to, here, I'm just going to kind of play this one out. If you want to fix big government, which appears to be broken right now, and nobody trusts the voting process after the last two elections. Let's just go there. And nobody's ever trusted them. But now, if you literally wanted to fix your trust back into government, that would be the immediate way to do it for whoever was running on a platform next, right? Would say, you know what? We all know it was rigged. We all know it was fixed. We all know, whether it was crazy voting machines or mail-in, all these fraudulent things happened. The evidence is clear as day. So if you want to eliminate that, everybody's got a phone. Everybody has access to the internet. So, I mean, you could offer a terminal at your county building that people can come in and vote anytime, and they would have,
or
or at home if you don't have one.
Why shouldn't there be some hurdle, like, in order to vote? Everybody has the right to vote, but should you have to have the hurdle of at least proving that you're a citizen of the country?
I believe
once you're on the blockchain and you have access to your voting tab, whatever you want to call the technology, it should be bulletproof simple. We said this, Matt, by the way, we went over this coming into the election. Like, we went to the moon 40 years ago. How the hell can't we figure out a secure election? Anyway, one other one that I wanted to cover, or actually two more I want to cover. One is ADA. If you have that up there, bring it up. ADA US dollar. The news around this one was, they've been added to Coinbase Pro. And you see what happens when more people have access to trade something. In general, you get more trading.
Yeah. So again,
it's been something that we've talked about here at marketvitals.io is you need to know where the coins are available to trade, because if you want exposure, you have to actually do a little bit more work in order to get exposure to them.
Yeah. So this was 30 cents back less than a month ago. And I think you were talking about it then because it was in my charts. And it went up 5x, Bob. It went to $1.50 in a matter of 2 weeks again. So again, not an area now that I want to chase it. It'll probably go 100x just because that's what these things do, these pet rock collections do.
Right on. What I want to point out too, Matt, is that fucking incredible bar right there with the washout. That one there.
Yep.
The washout bar. And there was actually some volume. I'm not sure is this from Kraken?
Yeah, this is Kraken.
Yeah. You imagine you had your stop in at 90 cents and they fill you at 12 cents. That's another problem with crypto. Great price discovery. Hey, thanks.
Hey, Bob, I had a bid. I had a bid at the point of control. I couldn't believe it hit that day.
Always have bids.
Look at that. Look at that.
Is that unreal?
Yeah.
You can't take the bar away, right? And it's on the blockchain. It's at the exchange. Yeah, that was our price discovery in that meltdown. Man, let me share because I want to bring up one other graphic here. And I thought this was incredibly prudent and because I've been saying this all along. Yeah, great. You want to disrupt. You think you have this technology. It's great. Things need to be disrupted. But unless something gets used, like if it gets, it's like the application and adoption are the only things that matter at the end of the day, right? And Elon Musk Tesla is rumored to be interested in acquiring Chainlink. I don't know how that happens. Like, I don't know how you acquire the whole protocol. Obviously, you can. To speed up production with automation, starting with the Reno, Nevada gigaplant. Tesla's created a new crypto division. We know they bought a shit ton of Bitcoin. Link will be the first significant crypto acquisition in Tesla history, or so Junko Suzuki is telling us. No idea if this is true, but it goes back to my thoughts around crypto. If it's not adopted, if it's not getting adopted, it's going to zero, right? And the ones that we've pointed out, HBAR, the Hedera hash graph being adopted, a couple others that don't jump into my mind, but Link now is one also. And for me, let me just share quick, if you'll let me share. I would love to share. I can't share. Hold on. Can I share? Did you say I could share?
I believe you're able to share.
He believes. I believe. Hold on.
As the youngest of 79 kids, Bob, you knew how to share. Things just got stolen from you.
Listen, what I knew was hand-me-downs too. Let me talk to you about hand-me-downs. All right, Link hit with a nice pump here also, just like ADA, and a nice pump here, back into Upmo on the daily. It looks like it wants to go. I was waiting on a washout, like I've said before, for Bitcoin, but maybe Bitcoin just consolidates, right? And trades, whatever, sideways for a couple of months. And you see these other alts, and let's go, again, another changing of the story. This is Link versus Bitcoin. I love looking at the crosses for direction if I'm not going to hold Bitcoin, if there's a better story out there. This, right, for me, for sure, hasn't become a better story on the weekly yet, but it's getting damn close to turning this around. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing in crypto land. Link, ADA. And for that measure, let's just talk, because the tweet said it, I'm reminded of how many people I know in the crypto space that think that XMR is a better store of value. And this thing hasn't had the moonshot that Bitcoin has. And for me, it looks like, again, it looks like a better story, possibly. Let's just, I say that, but then I got to go to this chart and look at the cross.
It's trying
Bitcoin, and it too, it hasn't proven it to me yet, but it for sure looks like it's bottoming and maybe a better story than Bitcoin itself. And I think if Bitcoin just kind of consolidates trade sideways, that some of these altcoins are going to be a better place to capture alpha in your crypto portfolio. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing, Matt.
Let's which bracket are we going to do today, Bob? We got two left.
For freak's sakes, let me come back to it. What a moron. Yahoo. Let's go to Yahoo, Matt. I'm going to share some Yahoo. Get your yayas out. There we go. Bracketology. We got a couple days before you got to get the picks in. I actually changed the pick today, Matt. And this is, by the way, join marketfunnels.io, and you can join we only have 3 members right now that are willing to risk it all as far as ego is concerned with their picks in the brackets. Matt, we're going to talk Gonzaga bracket today. And I got the Zags going all the way.
You got them going all the way. All right. Well, I got not so fast, Dickie V.
Matt is the quintessential don't. All right. Just if you don't know Matt, he's the don't. Whatever you say, it's the don't. It's the don't coming down the pipeline.
It's just fun.
Get ready for it.
It's easy to take the opposite side and torment people. I'll take Gonzaga the first round. I'll take Okie. I'll take Creighton, Virginia, SC, Kansas. I'm going to go VCU, Iowa. Then I go Iowa, USC, Virginia. Oklahoma upsets Gonzaga. Virginia beats Oklahoma. And Iowa ends up playing Virginia for the regional final, and Iowa wins.
Wow. Well, I know you have well, we won't even we're going to get to the other side of the bracket tomorrow.
Yep.
But I know what Matt's gunning for. I can feel it. I can feel it.
It's coming. All
it's
four.
Coming. It's coming. That Big Ten. It's coming. They're coming, baby. They're coming.
The Big Ten Final Four looks very, very favorable.
It actually looks doable.
It does.
I will say
there's
that
a number.
Sure.
There's a number of teams in many brackets that I think there was 8 or 9 Big Ten. So you got 2 basically in every region that can make it. So the odds are good, better than any other conference. Let's just put it that way.
All right, Matt. All right, as we get out of here,
we got the Fed today. We got the Fed coming up in an hour.
Right, the bonds showing that maybe there might be a little change in composure or stance, or
the bonds are hanging right around 155. They dipped to a new low again here, 154.21 on the ZB, and that's the 30-year. I prefer the 30-year tradable. Liquid, thick. If you like the UB, you like the ZN, those are options. ZT, they're all out there. When we talk about bonds, we're typically talking about the ZB. Yeah, it made a new low again, Bob. But again, that 154 number that we've talked about is kind of like, do or die. It needs to hold there. Otherwise, you kind of got 152. 152 doesn't hold. You got 144 way down there below. So listen, the smart money, the big money is seeking protection. And it's leaving the bonds. I mean, you can't deny this move that has been happening for a year now. This is not a new move. And again, if you've been fighting it the whole way down, don't fight it anymore. The trend. I mean,
it's funny you say that. There was a tweet out because we were talking about the curve and whether the Fed would start to do the twist and try to protect the longer end, do the things that they can do. And somebody's pointing out there's an ETF called TLT, which is a bond one, and it's running into a double bottom. But the gentleman on Twitter was saying, "Isn't this a great place to buy?" And I was saying, that's 6 chambers, 4 bullets, spin, and you go first.
Well, again, what do you want to, if you're trading a 1-year chart, it's which we're looking at right here. It looks shitty. I mean, would you want to buy that?
Yeah, that's right. It's just falling off the table. Yeah, you want to catch the falling knife.
If you catch a bounce, you're just lucky. Nothing really has formulated a bottom there. And then if you look at a 5-year chart, you go, oh, wait, there's a lot more room to the downside still.
Exactly.
So, I mean, just in 18, we were trading down here at 137. But again, the point of control is right here at 153. We've been talking about this number, 153.18, 153.18. Maybe we need to tag that, after this, we need to brush it out and scare them and maybe even take it down to 152. 152, if you want to leg in, 152 to 153.5, that's the area I would be a buyer on any such move that came today, right? If you come back to the short-term chart, which again, we made another new low today. But if we bust through that, and people, and now, like if you want to trap shorts, that's where, for my money, that is where you would trap them, Bob. You would trap them down, down at a big level. But again, you look at a little bit longer chart. This is 8-9 year chart, and you got 143. So I just fractaled all the way out, and we talk about who's in control of the market. I really believe bonds are they are much bigger than the equity markets, much bigger than the equity futures markets. There's way more money in the bonds than there are in anything else, right? So the safety here, they're leaving the bonds, which means, they're protecting their capital, and that's because the interest rates are going higher. They can get better, they can get better returns without the risk. So that's what this is telling me, and you got to be careful. Interest rates are going up. Whether or not and again, Fed is just saying we're not doing anything until 2023. I saw that a week or two ago, pre-Fed, and now we got to wait today to hear him say we're not doing anything. And then whatever,
Yeah, but I think that's the whole crux of this is like, do they change that forward thinking?
I just can't I can't read their cryptic announcements. Like after they read them, I'm like, I have no idea what he just said. Like it's just.
I agree with you too, because I'd rather just read the chart because
I would just rather read the chart and wait for the reactions and go from there. Because the people that play that game, or they have a guess that he's going to say nothing and the market's going to go this way, that I mean, that's freaking gambling. Flip a coin. Yeah, it's great if you can do it, but
That's the old hogs cattle spread, man.
yeah,
Back to the hog cattle spread.
it's just it's a tough game. So my point is, don't play it. It's really a sucker's game unless you have some inside knowledge, which 99.
Well, by the way, Matt, insider trading is by far the best trading methodology there is.
Well, if you know what Beeks is, I don't know.
I'm telling you, you get that orange juice report early, you're going to be a hell of a trader. All right, man, I want to thanks so much. Listen, happy St. Patrick's Day. Please join us at marketvitals.io. We got a nice core of traders sharing intel and info, and we want to expand it for sure. And man, I want to leave everybody with a little floor flavor with a limerick because it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'll go to the foul side for this one, Matt. Did you know there once was a man from Kildare who was making love to his wife on the stair? Well, the banister broke, so he doubled his stroke and finished her off in midair. Bong! Happy St. Patrick's Day. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow.
Erin Go Bragh.